Today's reading from the Big Book of Virginia Ghost Stories is called The Vanishing Pitt Street Ghost. The following account is extracted from the July 20th, 1885 issue of the Alexandria Gazette. A year or two ago, several individuals at different times were scared out of a 7 years' growth by catching glimpses at night of a somber-clad, tall figure, supposed to be of the feminine persuasion, whose way it was to glide noiselessly along the pavement in front of St. Paul's Church, or to suddenly emerge from either of the alleys on that thoroughfare, and stand in front of some related pedestrian until each separate hair on the latter's cranium assumed a perpendicular position. From whence it came, or whither it went, Hades, the abode of the blessed, Gehenna or Sheol, none were able to tell. The spook, or whatever it may have been, rendered many credulous persons nervous, and caused others to go out of their way on more than one occasion, rather than risk a sight of the supposed spirit walking to their homes over the dreaded square. All sorts of suggestions intended to clear up the mystery were advanced, the generally received theory being that the apparition was nothing more than a harmless colored woman, slightly demented, who was accustomed to leave her home in the witching hour of night and walk around the neighborhood. The sensation, however, like all mundane things, died out until last Saturday night, when it was once more revived by the ghost making its appearance to Mr. James Wood, who was on his way home at the time. Mr. Wood lives on the north side of Wolf, between Pitt and St. Asaph Streets. It was 12 midnight, that lonely hour when the graveyards yawn, and Lunar's gibbous form had just sunk behind the western hills, when this gentleman, with a box of fried oysters under each arm, started from the Opera House restaurant for his home. He had arrived at the southwest corner of Prince and Pitt Streets, intending to pass over the square opposite St. Paul's Church, when directly in front of him there suddenly appeared the irrepressible figure he oft had heard of, not in sable habiliments, however, but snowy white. Mr. W. claims to be no believer in ghosts, hobgoblins, fairies, or spirits, so he determined to catch up with carefully survey whoever or whatever it was that glided, not walked, so stealthily before him. Accordingly, he accelerated his gait to the utmost to overtake the spectre, but despite his every exertion, he could get no nearer than 5 feet of the apparition. He smoked up vigorously on a cigar he had in his mouth, for the purpose of shedding as much light on the scene as possible, when, in the twinkling of an eye, the spook vanished as suddenly as a ring of smoke or a burst soap bubble. At this denouement, our hero, sultry as the weather was, felt a cold chill meandering down the spinal column, which soon eventuated in a tremor throughout the frame, and concluding that he had had enough of that adventure, became panic-stricken, and beat a lively retreat back to the restaurant he had previously left, arriving at which he rushed up to the proprietor in such a disturbed state of mind that the latter imagined him to be in a bellicose humor, and prepared himself to act upon the defensive. Mr. Wood, however, soon explained himself by giving a thrilling account of his adventure, which he closed by informing some of the bystanders that they would have to accompany him to his home, as he was completely unnerved. A committee kindly volunteered for that purpose. In the course of half an hour, Mr. W. was safe within his own domicile. Quote unquote, his disbelief in visitants from the unseen world is not so strong now as formerly. The Vanishing Pitt Street Ghost. Kind of funny, it's near St. Paul's Church, and what was that street's name? St. Paul's Church and a Saint Street. Interesting. Makes one go, Big Book of Virginia Ghost Stories.